A lot of people staying mysteriously silent these days in the midst of controversy, but Bill Cosby isn't the only one, and perhaps not the more interesting. In wake of the midterms, the NAACP missed a great chance to say something meaningful, and the sound you hear is crickets. This and more on the media side of matters. Welcome back from Mediaite, the esteemed television columnist and raconteur, Joe Concha, joins us once again. Joe, how's everything going?
Eddie, the media side of matters, just as long as you don't say media matters.
No. Oh, please. You got it on that one, I promise. Never. Let's get down to this. Rip from the headlines, if you were. You bring up a great point here. The NAACP, as far as the midterms, they have African Americans that are voted in. They are Republican, yet they are completely quiet on this. I got to say, Joe, there's a lot of people I don't think would be surprised at all, because the NAACP hasn't really been very good on getting its message across for years now.
That's true, Ed. And, you know, when I looked up the NAACP mission statement, it mentions nothing about policy or politics. It's strictly about the advancement of colored people, whether and equality, and particularly in the political arena. So what we saw 17 days ago during the midterms, we saw Rick Scott was elected as senator of South Carolina with 61% of the vote, got more votes than Lindsey Graham. That would make him the first black senator, forget Republican, Democrat, first black senator in the South since Reconstruction. That is something to celebrate. And the NCAA could have, NCAA, that's my sports side coming out, the NAACP could have picked up a phone, shot an email, called 1-800-FLOWERS, something, and acknowledged it and said, you know, great job, and this is an inspiration to all the black youths that are out there. Unemployment rate among black youths is about 21%, and this is a story that should be told of a kid who grew up in poverty, was raised by a single mom, and now he's the first black senator in the South since Reconstruction. Wow. And instead, it's been dead silence, not only on Rick Scott, Ed, but also on William Hurd and Mia Love out in Utah as well. They don't acknowledge it because it doesn't align with their political thinking. Forget what the original mission statement of the NAACP was in the first place.
I want to correct you, too, because I've made this mistake, too. Tim Scott instead of Rick Scott, because I know the Scotts get
Look at me.
Yeah. Quite all right. No problem. But then again, hey, trust me, the bigger thing here is when it comes down to leadership and honesty, NCAA, NAACP, really, you can put the two of them together and they just kind of like go together. Trust me, it happens all the time. This is interesting. Al Sharpton reportedly owes $4.5 million in back taxes, yet he is still on the air at MSNBC. He is still creating trouble in Ferguson, and MSNBC continues to give him that national pulpit.
You know what I loved about this story, Ed, from a media perspective? The New York Times, the liberal New York Times, actually looked into Mr. Sharpton's finances and found that he owed millions in back taxes that he has no plans to pay. His National Action Network as well owes taxes. He's not going to pay those as well. And yet here he was last night. He was part of MSNBC's coverage of the immigration speech by the president, the post speech anyway. And now, obviously, in Ferguson, he will be front and center. And as I mentioned in a column about a week or two ago, the first person to go to the White House after the drubbing that the president and his party took in the midterms was Al Sharpton. That's who Mr. Obama turned to first, not McConnell, not Boehner, not any of the Republicans. He sought the guidance of a tax cheat in Al Sharpton. Perfect. And what is the world coming to when he is the voice, he is the perspective that you're looking for as the president?
30 seconds, outnumbered on the Fox network. Tommy Chong took them to task this past week. Is this one of the worst shows on television?
I kind of differ with you there. I think it's pretty good.
Really? I thought Tommy Chong ate him up pretty good.
Well, that's what made the show compelling, though, right? I mean, at least there was a differing viewpoint. Here's all I'll say. For years, I've been saying that The View should have a male on that panel, that you need that perspective as well, not just four women sitting around a table. So from that perspective, yes. Is the execution on that show perfect? No, but it's new. But yeah, Chong took him to task, but then again, it was written about, and that's what you want as a television show, people talking about what you talked about afterwards. So it's a work in progress, Ed, but I don't think it's the worst show in the world.
Okay, we'll give you that, but I would love to see Tommy Chong going at it with Rosie O'Donnell. That would be
Rosie O'Donnell actually picked her nose on the air and ate it this week. You can read about that on Mediaite.
Thanks so much for sharing, and my Thanksgiving dinner will never be the same. Mr. Concha, thanks so much, sir. We'll see you next week.
Okay, thank you.
Take care. MidPoint continues.